See, my ultimate goal would be to play like this guy, man. He's really clean and very smooth. That's why I'm practicing. How clean that is, man. I mean, it's a really steady flow of notes, but still, he keeps it interesting. So bring it down. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, we're going to do some Arabian jam track. Arabian Egyptian jam track. It's in E Phrygian mode, which I'm able to play in A minor with a sometimes the what is that? G, so it would be the seventh, a normal seventh, a instead of a flat seventh, just a regular seventh. All right, let's get a jive, man. Yeah, so it's a harmonic minor scale. It's a major harmonic major scale. Yeah. Harmonic minor. This is about 110 BPM. I do like the beat of it. It's very Arabian metal. To write a metal tune to this with the vocals and everything would be very cool, wouldn't it?
Yes, I'm the ratchet cow. It's going to be your mind. Wants to be your bride. You won't see
It's too low. It made me choke. Oh, very nice. Phrygian mode, a little Arab, Arabian, Egyptian backing track. What's up, Josh? How you doing, buddy? A little spicy funk fusion in G minor here. A little rehearsal time on the band. Funk blues, okay. We'll find one right after this. Thank you, man. Said it. The background's not giving anyone some epilepsy. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. You wouldn't be giving somebody epilepsy. It would be affecting someone who had epilepsy. The dancer dude. All right, let's get some funk blues. This is for Josh. All right. All right, this one's going to be an A, so we're going to start out with the F sharp minor relative and then move to the A and then go back and forth. All right, that one's for Josh. Hope you guys having a great day. Welcome in. That's some funk blues. That was in A, and then I was switching back and forth between F sharp minor and A depending on what part of the song that was. Trying to have as much fun as possible on what is today? Wednesday. We are not experiencing any storm here. It's very sunny. It gets a tiny bit chilly, so.
Oh, behave.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't say. I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
What's up, Fall Puda? How are you? Okay, cool. I'll tell you what key we're doing every time then. And then we'll do a mode here and there. Very cool. We'll do like, oh, I don't have them up today. Let me bring them up very quickly, just so I have them ready. Most of the time, the modes are in one chord, but not always. Like Mixolydian and some of the other Dorian, some of the other you can switch. But some of them are in a single chord when we do this jam. But we're going to do one more song and then we'll pull up. We'll do some modes. And why does I wish my why does the history go away? Why does it go away? Yeah, so you get things like Phrygian, like sorry. Without context, it sounds so funky, but we'll get into that in a second. So, Puda. Okay, very cool. So we're gonna do. I like kind of doing a roll of the big wheel, like on Price is Right, where we're just gonna spin the mouse and see what we get here. I don't want it to be too slow. Okay, let's do this one. This is some smooth, some smooth R&B backing track in E major, so it could be E or C sharp minor. Let's get a different background though first. We don't need the. I like the female dancer silhouettes. Oh, and there they are. Can you believe it? Right when I say it, man, I can't. Let's get a big swoosh going for this one. All right, Puda. So Puda, we're in E major, C sharp minor, soul, smooth. C sharp minor. Not too many notes now. Act like you're the singer. I'm gonna bring my guitar up a little. This pedal's so sensitive. Be the singer, man. Don't need so much gain. Bring it up a little bit. Give me a chorus. Come on, backing track. Give it to it. Puda, how you doing, Puda? It's the metal one. Which one? Nice and smooth. See, sway. That's too harsh, man. There we go. It's the female dancer silhouettes that make the whole thing work. Bring it up. I think this is chorus. You want to barely touch the string with it. Whoa, whoa, don't look away from the screen. Gotta use, if I meant to do that, that would have been better. Okay, we'll do a Phrygian, we'll do a metal Phrygian one next. That's your preference, huh? Great to hear, man. That's why shred is in quotes. It's just you know. And do those octaves. I don't know why it gives it a lot of, I guess because it's 2 notes at a time, right? Soulful, huh? It is right there. It's just a feel-good thing. I should shut up. Silhouette dancers are like, is this all it does? Where are the vocals? These jam tracks can go on for days, man. Just gotta remember. Time to chop it off. All right. Fall Puda. Fall Puda is jamming along on his Strat. What year is your Strat, man? Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. I thought he said you had a Strat. Yeah, what? Is it a current Strat or is it a nice old collector's item? Get a little more of that. And clean it up. Let's clean it up for just a second. Just this way. Can't get the fucking. Basta. That's not. It's never going to sound like a Strat, but I can change these pickups out of phase and stuff. Weak. The beautiful Bay Area music in the nighttime on WLST radio. It's a WLST Riff Reaper. All right, this is for Puda. We're going to play in Phrygian mode. We're going to play a metal Phrygian, so let's pull that up. We'll play the scale as well, so you can hear the scale before we start. And Puda's playing on his Strat. Ah, the Ibanez Blazer, what's up? Yeah, Joe. I kind of like calling you Puda, but hey, Joe. Yeah, so that buddy in college painted that guitar. It's a Strat copy. Has a Floyd Rose on it. Metal Phrygian mode. Phrygian. And of course, Phrygian's it's very Arabic Egyptian sounding. We'll play the scale here. So normally, well, not normally, but here's the main scale in just one position. It doesn't really sound really like what's so special. Well, it's that the 7 and the 1, right? So it's the Jaws thing, right? Where's my harmony? So that's what the Phrygian scale is. Let's play some metal Phrygian jam. This one's for Puda, for Joe. Did I not hit enter? Yep. Don't call me Shirley.
Oh, behave.
I love it. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, this
Yeah,
carving.
baby.
This carving I just got in July of this year. I didn't have to pay any money for it. But I did have to trade a Mesa Boogie amp. The Mesa is just a single rectifier. Wasn't like, dude, what are you doing, man? Wait, that didn't start from the beginning. Alright, this is an E, so we're gonna be here. Wait. Yeah, E up there. It doesn't sound right to me. There's a do it in, yeah, so I can do it in A, actually. Alright, I'm gonna try a different one because this still is kind of... I mean, it's actually a ripping track, but it's not falling into place for what I've done with Phrygian mode before. So we try one maybe an A. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter, but it might. Oh, it's got an E in front of it. No wonder. No wonder. C. F sharp back. There we go. Oh, maybe I gotta start one down. Hang on. Here we go, right here. No, that's not it. It's not wait. A minor. Stopping it right there. It's just not doing it for me. Puda, are you having a good time with this or not really? Yeah? Is it working for you? Or you want to go to something else? All right, I want to go to something. It hasn't been, the Phrygian mode hasn't been a good experience today. Let's try. Oh, I'm frightened to try anything now. Let's go. Oh, Locrian. So Locrian's kind of freaky. Locrian's kind of a weird mode. Here's the scale. The scale is... It's the same as the Phrygian mode. But I think I did this before in the Locrian mode. Oh, maybe because it was dominant? I don't know. Let's go to Locrian mode. And we'll go back to some normal jamming here in a minute. And we'll give you the key so you can play along. All right, this is metal. I forgot to take the word metal out. E Locrian. Let's see if this has a nice sound. I mean, it's going to be a little weird, but hopefully it's kind of... It blends better than the Phrygian mode did. A little better, I think. But it's not going to have a song, right? Although it could be a metal song, I guess. Half bends. You can do a half bends right here. Same here. Yep. I picked the two weirdest ones, obviously, Puda, but you know, they give like a Dorian one. It basically sounds the same except for a single note. You've got, if you were in A minor, it'd be like but instead you go instead of. That's the only difference in Dorian. But you can hear the difference in the song. If you don't play that note, it sounds really wrong. So if it's in Dorian mode, you have to play that. In that case, it's the A to F, the sharp 6 instead of the flat 6. If you're in A. Puda says, yeah, this is definitely a weird one, but dipping into the world music kind of melody for this because of how to do it otherwise. Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is, people try to figure out modes for a long time. You play on the second note, you play on the third note and all that. But I like to take a backing track and do what we kind of did today, although today it sounded a little funky, especially in the Phrygian mode. Normally it's a little more satisfying than that. But you can really feel that difference. And a lot of it is subtle. But on some of those, the Phrygian and the Locrian like that, it has that very Arabic, Egyptian And it's because of the single from like the 1 to the 2. It's just a half note. Like instead of it's right. That was a shark attack. All right, Puda, where would you like to go? How about you want to do a little bossa nova, a little Let's do a little Latin, huh? Latin shred practice. What does bossa nova mean, new boss? Play less notes, boys. We need to change our dancers, man. What the hell am I doing? Okay, this one's in C minor. I should have told you right off the bat. It's a little loud. Shit, I should have brought it down there. I brought it down too far now. There we go. Wrong set of dots. once I set the volume, I got to get my foot off the pedal because I think it's the wah-wah pedal or something. And I keep turning up and down. The thing is not smooth. $100 and it's not smooth. They say you should return it, but it's really hard to find USB. Well, I don't even want to get into it. Yeah, actually, you know, the slide, I've been watching Paul Gilbert do a slide for emulating vocals to where you're actually playing the vocal part of a song everybody knows. And instead of just picking it, he's using the slide. I actually was doing that, but I wasn't using the slide. Seemed like you got to have a holder to go back and forth. And they have, right, you can put it right here. You can put your finger right there, grab it, take it off, grab it, take it off, go back. A nice tight ending. All right, let's do a metal song today. This one's from Puda. I'll give you the key, Puda. And hopefully it's a fast one. They like to do a lot of ballads on these backing tracks. I don't know what I mean. Why? I mean, I get it for like certain rock tracks, but metal tracks? Oh, I guess. Well, and you're really kind of limited to whatever strings, you know, to be able to. They got to be parallel, right? They got to be in line. All right, I like to pick one I've never done before. I'm gonna put backing track metal. I'm gonna put fast. Otherwise, they give me these cinematic slow. And I'm just in the mood for a fast one right now. Now, you can't do... If it says rock, it sounds too 80s. You can... Heavy metals, heavy speed metal. Whoa, I want to listen to this. This one... Boys and girls, this one's 252 BPM. 252. Baby. We gotta hear it. Pull this shit up, man. Yeah. This is an A minor. cool. At least it goes back. You can just do single notes because they're going so fast. Do this fast. So you learn to play single note. They were going so fast, I don't need to play super fast. Oh, I had a feeling you were gonna like that one, Puda. Let's do one more that way, and then we'll bring it down a little bit. But Puda, I had a feeling you'd like that one. Oh, look at this one. I don't know if we can play this without getting a ding here. They changed the key. I don't know what key it's in. Change it one more time. Listen to this chick.
Sing for me.
This one. There's one more. Wait there. There it is. Listen to the last note she hits here. Right here. All right, so if you'd like to know who that singer is, her name is Floor Jansen from the band Nightwish. So she plays in a metal band already prior to even doing that little gig there. You playing along, Puda? I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. It's D minor. You probably figured it out, though, by then. They finally mixed one right. Puda's still rocking, baby. If you're playing along with Share the Key, this one's D minor. Someone try to stop it like 7 times. That was a good one, but I'm getting a little... Now we need a little break from metal for a second. Let's see if work pinged me. All meetings were done by the time we started today. And of course, there's nothing. Which is great for morale, to not have to respond to any work items. All right, Puda or anybody else, what would you guys like to play to? I'll give you the key. We can do any kind of backing track you like. We can kind of play to a real song, kind of, if it's like a cover version. I forget it already. Change the background. Why does notes keep coming up on this Mac? I'm not hitting anything. This isn't. Oh, I know what it is. If I hit Control N instead of Shift N, Control N thinks I want a new note document. Fuckers. All right, we're gonna do something here that's not. You know what? Sometimes I think it has more shred potential in it than normal metal and rock. And we're talking country, kind of bluegrass. Grass-ish, but you almost can do one moment. It's a very rhythmic thing, and so I'm not a bluegrass picker or anything close, and I don't even want to put it on clean channel or anything like that. We're still going to keep it on distortion, but it is fun to play with, and you can do some chromatic things that you normally wouldn't really, you know. Puda, you down for country? You gonna be able to play to it? It's still if it's in G and you want to play in E minor or G major, right? I know. I can't downpick all that either. And there's a cover that I play too when I learned it, but man, it's hard to keep up with. What a song. At least the intro, right, is fun. That's it. I'm done. All right, let's try this. I want to listen to Maggot Brain after this. By Eddie Hazel. Thank you for the request. I'm not sure we'll be able to do it, but maybe we can play a little bit of it anyway. We just want to make sure it's if it's not a backing track, they'll ding us. They'll ding us. All right, this one is let's go. We're gonna go classic G, country honky tonk backing track guitar in G. So if you're playing along, you can do your G major scale, or you can do on guitar an E minor positioning. So the 7th, you can play with the flat or the major, right? Same with the 4th. You can do the flatted 4th or the perfect 4th. Like, let me sip a Java before we get started here. All right, isn't that fun, Puda? It's sometimes I do a little more country picking, and I can't even do it really, but I enjoy trying to go clean and trying to do the fast stuff. That wasn't even a fast one. Let me see if I can show you what we're talking about. Show you what we're talking about. Something like this. Maybe. I don't think so. There we go. Whoa. That's what I'm talking about. I sometimes go on and try to learn some licks, and then you move on, and then you come back to it, and it's you gotta really it's a lot of like if you're a mandolin player or an acoustic country player, and you gotta pick every single note, which is great, alternate picking. But it does take a lot of stamina, and some of the classic licks, like let me clean it up a bit here. And then you change the. But that's not even it. I'm talking about like really the fast picking stuff that it sounds so good when guys play like that. It sounds like the instrument's just speaking. And it really gave me a new perspective for bluegrass, because I was never really like into it, and I don't listen to it a lot, but there's a player named Andy Wood. He's probably one of the best guitar players I've ever seen, and he plays he started out as a kid by playing mandolin. So his picking is so clean and precise, and in his left and right hand are so synchronized. If you get a chance, look up Andy Wood, and you'll see what I'm saying. It's incredible. You don't see it as much live. It's weird. If you look at some of his videos, he does it quite a bit. Live, he's just more or less, he's jamming with the band, so it's a little different. Yes, Chet and Jerry Reeds, you got it, and you already are aware of Andy Wood. Incredible, Joe. Yeah, just in it's so clean, and it's effortless. But if you watch some of his videos, I mean, you start out, right? He says, how? I can't even do it without hitting the. Right? How consistent and accent? 3, 4. But he does that so rippingly clean. It's hard enough just to do that for a long time and relax. You can practice by doing songs that way, right? You can go. And it even helps you with string skipping, because that's the hardest part of this. Going from one string to the other. I'm just glad I can strum the guitar. All right, I'm going to play a little Andy Wood. I want you to hear this guy. We won't get dinged. And we'll just play a little piece of it. Get to the part where. He plays slow great, obviously, but when he plays fast, as Joe knows, it's insane. But so clean. Come on, Andy. Here we go. Let me go back. Back one more. Here we go. Right here. It's just a thing. His favorite guitar is this ash color, dark ash color Telly. And it's tough when you're trying to have aspirations to do stuff like that, and you practice and practice and practice and realize it takes a lot of investment. Your muscles have to develop, and even I wasn't even able to do this a year ago. But I can keep that up now, which I could never do. I used to get very tired early on. Add a little echo like he did. Oh no. Oh yeah, it is on. Oh, and that wasn't even all the game. And you do it in a pentatonic, right? Let's just play our normal happy stuff. Incredible. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. I listen to his, I go on his a lot. A lot of times, though, it's if you're looking for instruction, it's not really there. He does give concepts and things, how to play fast or how to just concepts in general, but he doesn't really have lessons like a lot of other guys do. You can pay for it. There's some there. I take that back. There's a little bit. There is some. All right, let's play a rock tune. Joe, this one. Talking about Joe. Maybe it'll be no. Let's see. Oh, let's do some '80s driving rock guitar backing track in E minor. Yeah, that's correct, Joe. You're absolutely right. He has a very it's not trebly, but it's so nice and smooth, you know. All right, we're going to take a very short break. I hope you guys can hang around. If not, come on back in a little bit. And we'll be back in about 5 minutes. And remember, we've got some songs and loops coming up at around 4 o'clock Eastern. And we go on for a few hours there, playing a lot of the top pop and metal hits and even some other kind of genres. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. All right, Joe Puda, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for stopping by. So I play this guitar, or any guitar, my Les Paul, or this Carvin, and I specifically have been staying away from playing the Strat copy that has a Floyd Rose on it, simply because I don't want to grab the bar and make it a habit and rely on that. It sounds great, and I love the effect, or tremolo, whatever it might be, but I don't want it can become a crutch, and you can really start using it too often, and in a place where maybe you could do a finishing lick or something like that, and you grab the bar and do some vibrato or a dive or whatever, and it can really kind of take over. So I don't want to play that guitar, at least not now. I played it so much over the years, and those kind of habits were developed. So kind of want to avoid that. All right, come jam with me. That's our new tagline, because Joe plays, and when we do these backing tracks, I give you the key it's in so you can play along. I'm wearing headphones, it's in stereo. If it's right down the middle, it's ridiculous. I don't know why they do backing tracks where the main instruments are right in the middle. They need separation so your instrument can be heard in the middle, or you can hear your own instrument. All right, I'm not going to put a specific genre. Let's see what happens. Okay, 70 BPM. This is John Mayer, so it's going to be blues. Let's do some epic jazz fusion. Modern jazz fusion guitar backing track. This is in B minor. Sounds weird, huh? All right, that's what it is. This is Epic Jazz Fusion, Modern Jazz Fusion, guitar backing in B minor. It's 11 minutes. We're not going to do the whole thing ever, ever, ever. Anybody who'd like to hear a certain genre, go ahead and type it in. I see all the chats. Doesn't matter what platform you're on. Oh, just some net pickup for this. Terrible bend. I don't know if a singer would be able to. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. It sounds like scratching of nails on a chalkboard. Oh, right. Why didn't I say anything during that whole thing? I'm normally way too chatty, and I try to keep quiet, but so you guys can play to it. I hope when I do that I don't interrupt, but I really enjoy it when you guys play along, even though I can't really hear it. I do hear it in a way, because I figure you're playing better licks than I am. Come jam with me. Some echo. I like the way he did the. It's like doom, 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 wah, nah, nah, very dynamic, right? They may talk about you when you're cold. I was going to have to prematurely end it. Perfect. Perfect. Let's have a sunny backing track with a fusion jam. Whatever that might mean. As you're playing along, it's A minor. Cheers, folks. All right. That one was in A minor, Fusion Jam, Sunny backing track. All right, let's do a Dorian mode. All right, like I mentioned, the only difference, if you're doing a Dor, let's say A minor, here. Instead of this. It's this. You'll hear it. If you play along, it's A, Dorian. That's the note there. I thought Dorian would change key or change chords more. That's the one thing with the modes. So how do I use the modes? Well, you can use them as like an influence of a song, right? So if you were playing that one, I never could want the ball, somebody's got it. Sounds like the Sopranos theme. Walk on the wild side, cheat on the bads and never mind. I said everybody's gonna see the nighttime. Right, so you can do something like that. But then you would change to something like that. Every night I want to walk on the vine. So it's, it's all relative. Or I should say subjective. Whatever you're feeling, whatever. But that's how the modes could be used. You can either play solos to them and generally a single chord. I mean, not every time. There's a few modes you can mix the chords a little bit, or you can use it as like a feel or a mode for a song, like the verse or the chorus. And then you go out of it temporarily when you go to the bridge or the pre-chorus or the chorus, and you go back to the verse. Now you're in that mode again. Especially where you have these half steps, like if it's all right, that's a little bit medieval. Blues fusion and A Dorian. So we got some A Dorian here, a little blues fusion. We'll just do this a few minutes. Change chords. See, they won't change chords at all. Well, unless I force them to do it with bad notes. All right, there you go. If you ever need to play a mode for somebody, just tell them to ride a chord, and you can play any mode you want in that chord. Any of the 7 modes will work if you don't change chords. If you change chords, it kind of depends. Let's move to some New Orleans jazz. You hear that note they're playing in that, or that one chord? It's extreme right there. It goes out of the normal blues progression. Right here. I don't like it. All right. All right, we're going to take one more short break, and then we're going to come back with one last set. And then we're going to prepare for today's rock and roll concert session. That's how I have to look at it. Otherwise, I just can't do it. All right, we're going to be back in a little bit less than 5 minutes. Hope you can come back. And if not, we'll see you in about an hour when we start the afternoon session. But we're going to come back with about another half hour or so. So we'll see you in a few. All right. We got a special treat here. We got an instrumental by Gary Morris. It's called Still Got the Blues. Why? I don't get why this keeps falling out. It's upsetting and it's annoying. It's just a little three-prong thing, but I think it gets a little caught. But I have it. They do it so you can replace it, but I have it taped up. On one side, the tape works perfect. On the other side, it doesn't. It doesn't. They have this little ring thing. You can tighten it up. I've got to pull it down. These are not wireless, but I do love the in-ear. But this part of it's kind of a pain. Obviously. I think we've got it. Crike. Sometimes before I taped it, I used to drop it, although now I'm worried that's going to happen. I used to drop it and I didn't know where. One time I thought it went in the toilet. But it didn't. It just was on the ground. It wasn't even in the bathroom. We're not doing that. All right, let's we're not even going to choose a genre. I'm going to go ahead and just spin the slot machine. Let's do a dreamy this is a dreamy melancholic backing track. They may sound like when babies have colic. Melancholic? Pick it up. Here we go. Get that bend, baby. Nothing like a sour bend. It's alright with those other notes as long as that main one is bent. That's not it. Oh, that's 3 frets. Can't do that one. B minor, not E minor. I don't like that sound. That's out of tune right there. 1 second, please. Wow, it's so... That one, for some reason, is so far out of tune, we have to undo the clamp. And that's unheard of. Let me talk amongst yourselves. Actually, you know what? It was a new string. It was. But it was like last week or the week before. No, it was like last week, I think, or the week before. It should be stretched, man. Man. Bullshit. Now it's sharp. Okay, that's fine. No. My God. Ever since I was a kid, I hated the... I mean, when we were young, tuning was a pain when I was young. They didn't even have real tuners. Actually, they did, but if you wanted to... It was like $1,500 for a strobe tuner. If you wanted a strobe tuner, you could get one, but... And then eventually, once I was playing with bands, they had tuners you could buy. Otherwise, it was always so hard. Even when you hear... like, right? Even when you're doing the... See, that sounds out of tune. Let me check it. My God. See, that's what I'm saying. Yep, that G's a little flat. Tuning a stringed instrument? Alright, it has that slight machine quality. That's all we need. I wish I could play it. It sounds like mice. You gotta do it up here. I can't get it now. Come on. All right, driving 80s rock, a backing track in B minor. Let's change that up. I've never heard this one till today. I don't think they do anything different. Pretty punchy bass. There they go, man. Now they're getting it. I couldn't do it any longer. Wah. This might be interesting. Why is that guy soloing? Oh, it's a sax. That's a sax. Get out of the way, dude. what I'm trying to do. Oh, I was going too high. So I thought it was not. I thought it was flat. Couldn't do that one twice. It wouldn't have made sense. All right. I think we're going to do one more. And then we'll be back in about 30 minutes. Do the right password, please. 1, 2. That's not the password. We're good. We're good. All right. I'm going to look for something we've never done. Nunca, nunca. Hello, Rimpu. How are you? Metal horns, baby. We're practicing. Let's change that background. Come on, come on. Stuck reflective. What's stuck reflective? Pyramidal backing. So let's try this one. That's nice. gotta fire the sound man. Oh, it was only going to go another 20 seconds, maybe? Oh, not even that. It was like 10 more seconds. All right, folks, we're going to be back in about a half an hour, and it's going to be under Wall Street VH. If you're on YouTube, instead of Riff Reaper, you're going to look at Wall Street VH. And we do that when we do the songs and loops, but when we do just the shred jamming, we just do it under Riff Reaper. And if you're on Kick, it's always Wall Street. And we will see you very soon. If you can't make it, have a wonderful, wonderful day and a wonderful evening. But I know I'm going to see y'all, just a few. All right, see you soon, folks.